Yo, welcome people. Don't know it's the King Boss. Welcome back to Cheqpoint and welcome back to Game Room. Let me introduce everyone. So at the top of my screen, I've got Hypage.
Blessings, greetings.
All right, perfect, nice. Under that, we have Mr. JJ Bubbly.
Yo, what's up? Keeping it bubbling, people.
And under there, last one but not least, we have Mr. Ramo.
Two hands, Ramo, two hands.
Ramo, two hands. Apologies.
And you lot all got stuff. We got Bubbly and two hands. I'm gonna find my calling. I'm gonna find, man. You've got Master Chief, so you use a car. Maybe I'm great or something.
No, you're the King Boss. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
the King Boss.
Yes, this is what I mean.
Right,
and I'm
more Hypage, bro. Don't go like that's your real name. Show me.
You're a Hypage,
the Naruto thing. Believe
Hypage.
Hypage.
You're a Hypage guy. You're Hypage. You're a Hypes guy. You're the hype man. You say it's the hype man hypes.
Girls and rum, baby. Grum.
Hey, man, don't take me. I'm done.
All right, so, gents, the topic for today, a topic that I think most of us would have thought about at some point. I've definitely thought about, I know JJ and Ray have thought about, Hypes I know you're looking into as well, is what makes a TV worth it for you when considering gaming? And before we start, you know that Ray has the Q80, right, Ray?
Yeah, Samsung Q80T.
Yeah? Mr. JJ, with his TV costing the price of houses in third world countries, he has the LG CX. I have some simple Samsung 1080/60 TV. What do you have, Hypes?
I got a Samsung. I don't know what code it is. I know they lied back when they said everything's true 4K and it wasn't, and then you find out now they found the real one. I've got to be fair, I'm being silly. I've got a decent one. It's got all smart features and all that, but it's not the level where I want. It's not the final destination.
Fair enough. All right, so I'm gonna throw this one to you then first, Hypes, because I think you're more like me in the sense that we haven't jumped to the proper full 4K like these two yet. So tell me what makes a TV or a gaming TV important to you, and how much would you be willing to spend on a TV?
Shall I tell you what? Depending if it's worth it and it has a TV that can take the full power, it can harness the power of the new consoles. That for me, because majority of TVs now, they look amazing to an extent. Obviously, it can always be better, but I haven't had a problem looking at a TV, watching a movie for long. They all look amazing nowadays. So the game-wise is kind of the next thing what I look for, and it's more one thing off the top of my head that I can think of is input lag and response time. So not so much 4K because it comes with it. Like there's no point saying I'm going for a 4K. Most TVs nowadays is 4K. It's about what comes with it. So I would say response time and input.
It's standard now almost, man. It's standard now.
Okay.
And there was one thing, so just to add, when I first was looking for the next TV I was getting, there was the whole convo about one of the TVs, obviously it's between QLED and OLED. One burns the screens and that, but I don't see people complaining that for the screen to burn, you would have to leave from what I've heard, you would have to leave it on a certain image and go outside, come back, like go out for a couple of days. So
for loads of hours.
For a long time, or like if you're just a real cat and you're sitting down and you're literally just
banging out the same game for like hours and hours, just watching like the same FIFA. Screen.
Like FIFA,
If you bang out FIFA, but I've been told they said that you would have to be playing FIFA for at least like 5,000 hours.
Yeah, and
non-stop.
Nobody's gonna do that.
Non-stop.
Yeah. I don't think you have to really worry about screen burn. It's just one thing they have to let you know. It's like a disclaimer, innit?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was just about to ask you. Funny thing, do they sort it out? Like if somebody does get a screen burn and it's within the working time, do they actually cover that or not? I don't.
Certain companies don't. Most companies don't. As far as I'm concerned, I know LG will. under the 1 year warranty. For my one, I actually had to pay extra cover for that.
Okay.
So
on top of your house money TV, you paid extra.
Yeah. So you bought 2 houses.
How much extra did you pay? Just out of curiosity.
140.
For how many years?
5.
So is that
you was definitely one of those guys, you know, back in the days when you buy this game and they say the £25 or whatever for this protection
to cover it. Yeah, he's that guy. So he's the reason.
I wasn't that guy. I wasn't that guy. Okay. I wasn't that guy for this. Not for this. I'll put warranty on things that I spend a lot of money on, but not for this.
Fair enough. That's fair, to be honest. Because if you're spending over $1,000 on a TV,
if he puts it like that, yeah.
I'm good to go.
So so sorry, before you move on, what TV are you actually looking to buy?
It's hard because I'm a strong Samsung guy. Like, I like everything to be uniform. Samsung phones. I'm not gonna go into I basically really do want the Samsung TV, but from the research I've seen and for convenience, I am leaning more towards the LG. But I don't want to do it. It pains me. And the LG, for one reason, like a convenience sake, is the fact it's got 4 2.1 ports.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Exactly. And where I've got both consoles, I don't want to pull out the wire and have to switch and share one.
That's a valid reason, though. That is a valid reason.
That's a very good reason.
Only thing I would say is you have to look at. Well, let's hope that Samsung might bring out their 2021 TVs with more than one.
Yeah, I think they have to, because otherwise they can't compete.
You know what?
They have to.
And what's gonna annoy me about is the fact that right now I don't want to wait. Like, I've been waiting long enough trying to drop, because I hope it would have came out January. We're in January, it's the beginning, and I know with my luck I'm gonna get the LG,
and then the Q20 is gonna come out, or the Q100.
I think they usually drop March, April.
Okay, so maybe you wait.
That's what I'm saying. I can't wait until then, so I might just have to suffer.
Around that time, like March, April, or something
last year. Okay, so you might be better off waiting till that time than Hags.
That's what I'm saying, but I can't see me waiting. I've waited long enough.
Right, fair enough. All right, so
I think Samsung are coming out with a mini LED. What's it called? Micro LED.
Micro LED,
TV this year. I don't know if that's going to be better than...
What is that? I don't know what it is.
It's basically like smaller LEDs panels.
So the way LED works, well, the LED panels is that they're individually lit LEDs behind the screen. So just like you have an LED bulb, they have one 100 times, 1,000,000 times smaller. That's actually what makes the image on the screen. So when it's micro LED, it uses smaller ones to just do the same thing essentially. So that's it.
Yeah, because I was reading up the difference between a QLED, which is Samsung, and OLED, which is LG. It's literally that LG they don't rely on a backlight.
Yeah.
To light their LEDs, which Samsung does.
Yeah.
So that basically helps them get truer blacks.
Yeah, because they turn off sections of the screen. That are actually black. So when you see black on a proper screen like that, it's actually just off. That section of the screen is just off.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yes, for me, that's what I'm saying. For little things like that, I try not to read into too much.
Yeah.
As to why something may be better or not. To me, a lot of things like that come down to preference.
Yeah, I agree.
You get what I'm saying? So for me to, like you said, I got a Q80. Obviously, I looked at the Q90 as well. When I looked at the difference, obviously, I got my TV predominantly for gaming, even though I obviously watch films and shows on it also. But I got it predominantly for gaming. And when I've done my £300 to £400 on a brand new TV. You get what I'm saying? So it's the same for me, even with the CX. Like just yesterday I was reading up on it. The things that make the CX the best gaming TV, they're for me they're minor things. Obviously the main thing is what Hype's mentioned with the
4 ports, wasn't it?
The 4 HDMI 2.1 ports. But even for me right now, I'm not getting an Xbox anyway, so my PS5 can stay plugged into that one port that's on the Q80 right now, and so I'm good on that sense. So the Q80 for me personally works perfectly fine.
Yeah,
nothing on the other models, Q90 or the CX, warrants me to buy it because they're literally things that I genuinely don't care about, if you know what I'm saying. So that's my personal choice.
All right, fair enough. All right, let's jump down to Mr. JJ then. Can you please tell us about your decision for choosing the most expensive, well, not the most, but one of the best TVs in the world?
That practically came down to research, came down to reviews, and the kind of person I've always been the person that when I'm doing research and people mention differences and mention the best, I just wanted to see, how good is it? They're saying it's the best one, so that led me more to make that decision. And also, I actually went in the store. I went into Curry's, and luckily enough, they had a Q90, Q80, and the Sony and the LG all lined up, like all four of them. I think they did that on purpose because they were the most popular TV. And I looked at all of them, and obviously the Sony starting from £800 going up to the LG at the time, which was like £1,400. And I was looking at them and I was just comparing the two. And even then I could see the difference in terms of like the color and stuff. And just like Hypes, I was a Samsung guy. I was leaning so much to get in the Q90 or the Q80. I was trying to lean. I was even like watching loads of YouTube reviews, loads of YouTube videos, even people that didn't even game, that they just compared the two together. And they kept saying something like, it's not major, but they were saying, like, for example, when comparing the Q90 and the LG, they were saying that the game response time was like half a second quicker on the LG. And then in terms of like comparing how the game looks, they were saying that the game looks more true to life on the LG. And then they were saying that the colors on the Samsung TV were oversaturated, like they weren't actually natural colors. Like they oversaturated the colors on the Samsung.
Does that a lot actually,
and then
with their phones,
and I thought I noticed as well because I was worried about would I be able to use my phone with my Samsung TV, and also I watch movies. So from doing that, from looking at that, and a lot of people kept saying that as well. Samsung had this what they call a dirty screen effect on their screens, especially when you're playing games.
If you're unlucky, like if you get one with that, not all of them have that.
Not all of them, but sometimes, they're saying sometimes they have that. And I think it just came down after looking at all the research. People were saying, you know what, if you can put the extra money towards it, they were saying if you can and it's not a problem, then get the LG. If not, the Samsung was still a good TV to get. But from looking at that and knowing myself, I always wanted to get the best of the best. So when people are telling me, and when I'm watching things, especially like when I told you when I bought the PS5 in the beginning, I always played my games on fidelity mode, and I was looking for the difference. When I'm playing games, I'm looking at the whole thing. I'm not just playing the game. I'm looking at the whole picture. When I'm watching the cutscenes, I'm looking at the characters, and I'm like, why does this not look so amazing? I'm so confused. Why does it not look great? And then from people saying to me, the LG will bring out those colors, will bring out that saturation, will make the colors look more natural. You won't have that backlight when you're playing games in the dark, because my room again is dark. And that was another thing as well. They said get the
your room doesn't
Samsung.
Look dark to me. It looks pretty bright.
Nah, it's not. It's not. Like compared to most rooms, like compare it to like.
No, I'm talking about your background. I'm talking about your background.
The room in your background.
Did it get
right here?
Yeah, doesn't look dark to me at all.
Yeah. No, so like when you compare, like my bedroom is quite dark, so having a OLED, actually I don't get reflections because people were saying that it reflects a lot. You have a lot of reflections. I would say if you got a dark room, LG would actually look better. When I had my Samsung TV in my room with the light off, I could see the difference. It actually made the picture overly bright. Even then, sometimes I was turning on the brightness as well. And dark images in the game, the quality doesn't actually look that good. You can actually see the pixels and the noise. on the Samsung TVs because of that light, because of that backlight. It creates a noise like an ISO. I imagine that bumping up the ISO on a camera. You can
You're the
see
only
that.
one even knows what ISO means, Mr. Cameraman.
Yeah.
So ISO is basically backlight.
I don't notice them. I'll be honest with you.
To be honest,
Maybe because my TV's you guys have seen my front room. My front room's not dark. It's not decorated. It's like white with gold walls. So maybe that's why I don't notice it as much. To be honest. Even when I'm playing with the lights off.
All right. So for me now, I'm kind of in the middle in the sense that I'm kind of like Ray, where it's just like I don't care about half of that stuff that this TV has darker blacks and this and that. I just want 4K and I want 60, right? If 120 hertz comes with it or 100 hertz comes with it, perfectly fine. But unlike JJ, I'm not spending. Do you want me to tell them how much you spent, or do you want me to leave that part out?
Everyone knows how much it costs. Everyone can just go online. You
could do the math, innit? It's like £1,400 for
£1,400 for one TV,
and then £140 for extra for protection.
No, so, everything came out to £1,400. I think.
Oh, did it all come together? Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was £1,299 plus £140 for the.
So £1,439 there. Right. So that's still a lot of money for me, yo. That could be 2 TVs easily.
Now, know what though? Yeah. Even one thing that I would spend more money for or entice me more to buy is that people I haven't seen nobody mentioning is so the lighting in terms of what it does for the eyes. So naturally, like a lot of people will come into my house, we could be watching a movie or whatever, and they'll be like, "Bro, why is your TV dark?" Until I turn up, because I turn my back, like I turn it down. My current TV, all of that, even my phone screen, my brightness is down. That's one thing where OLED is better than the other TVs because of obviously the LED backlight, like the flickering and that it's more harmful. But that it's not to the point where you've messed up your eyes. But things like that, I would add on that. There's also the sound, which doesn't apply to me. The Samsung sound sounds better than the LG.
On the new ones they are.
The Q90.
The last generation were terrible, bruv. But the new
ones, the Q90 because that's what I've been looking at.
The 2020 ones, they're really good.
Okay.
I think it was like 4.2 and the LG's 2.2, something like that. Anyway, like roughly, it's a good 2-point difference. But it's weird because I've got surround sound.
Yeah, because when I was trying JJ's TV, I remember him playing music on it, and he was like, "Yo, that sounds good." I'm like, "Your ears are rubbish. That sounds awful." Do you remember me saying that it sounds weird to my ears? And then as soon as he switched over to his speakers, I was like, "That sounds a million times better."
And it's annoying because you're paying more for the TV, so naturally the sound should be better. But it's little things like that people don't.
You saying that, like I haven't used the speakers because I've created a new setup for the TV at the moment. I've got nowhere to put the speakers. And I was watching a film the other day, and I used the internal speakers. Now I'm comparing this to my last TV that I had. This LG TV, in terms of the music and in terms of the sound quality, the bass on this TV.
What's the last TV that you had though?
It was a
I had a Samsung.
The 4K. That's what I'm saying. Only the 2021s, which is something they made an actual effort to improve on, was the sound. All 4K Samsung TVs before that, even QLED, sound was poor, piss poor. So I definitely expect for the LG CX to have better sound than them older Samsungs. Because they were for me, that was one thing it used to get on my nerves a lot. Cause I spent a lot of money on these when I used to have like just normal Samsung 4K TVs, and I was so upset. I'd turn it all the way up, and I still just about I'd turn it all the way up, and it would still sound like it's on 20 volume, and I'd be like, it didn't make any difference.
Yeah.
But you say is it the volume that's the problem, or is it the sound that's the problem? Like
it's
that sound quality.
It's the actual sound quality. That's what I'm saying. But on the new Samsung, the one I've got, the Q80T, they've improved on it tenfold.
So Ray, out of curiosity, how much was your Q80T?
It was 1,100, but I got £200 discount, so I got it for 900.
For $9. Hypes, how much is the one you're looking at? You're looking at the CX as well, right?
I'm looking at both. I'm
Both.
still undecided on which one. But to me, the pricing ain't too much of a
No, that man's balling, fam.
I know, right?
No, this guy.
Balling.
No,
That man,
I told you,
money ain't a thing to them, man.
No.
Like,
Of course
don't
not.
listen to this
Money
one.
is a
Don't-
thing.
It's more no. All jokes aside, it's more the fact that they're both costly TVs. Like they it's £100, £200 difference between them. Like the LG were, let's just say 1/4,
300.
Like,
300.
and then the Samsung was 1/2. Obviously, here and there, depending on where you shop, you'll get £100 off. But altogether, it's a £200 difference. And I see it as when you've gone over a certain margin to pay for something, it then the money ain't so much the issue. If it's small difference, like if it was like a good £500 difference, then. But if it's only like 100 or 2 when you're paying over 1,000 either way, then it's kind of.
Hey, I understand that.
Yeah, and that's what led me to the conclusion,
But
because
for me,
again, like
I gotta be justified though, man, to spend that extra 200. For me,
I
think
the TV I'm looking to get
200, especially when you got kids, bro. That 200 could go a long way to some food in the fridge.
But even so, right? I don't have the TV I'm looking at is a 65-inch 4K LED, all of this good stuff. But it's, I think it's only 100 hertz, and it's $7 So 700.
You know what, Ron? I am happy you just said the 65-inch because I'm gonna say 2.
That's another thing as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say in two reviews, and even what I've noticed in shops from way back, for some reason, depending on the size, so you could have the LG or Samsung, they'll be amazing 55-inch or certain inches, even sometimes smaller. But then when it gets bigger, it's like it's stretched. You don't get that same quality.
No, you won't.
Same thing if it's
larger,
too small, it's not good, obviously, because it's too small. And if it's too big, so it's like it's one of those things. Like, do I want to get a bigger TV? You have to factor in so much.
I heard the best one is 65. Like that's where you should stop.
No, actually, to be honest, I've actually from looking at reviews and speaking to obviously people in the TV thing as well. One of the guys was saying, if you get like a 98-inch TV, like LG have an 8K.
My friend, my wall is not even that big.
No, but listen to what I'm saying though. Like they
where
said
do you
that
live?
Look at his background, bro. That's not a window. That's a TV. You know?
Yeah, his whole wall is a TV, yo.
No, but going back to what I was saying though, some people were saying the bigger TVs actually. It also depends on the size of the TV and how far from the TV you're sitting.
Yeah, that's important.
So if you get a 77-inch TV, your games will look amazing if actually you're quite
far from it.
You're quite far from it.
Depends on the size of your room and that, man.
That's it as well.
And the size of your room. And also as well, like, because even LG also released a 48-inch version, which is actually more expensive than the 55-inch. And that's because to put the OLED technology in a smaller screen is more expensive. And that's what PC gamers are using. And they're saying that's the best monitor that they've ever had. And that's the only monitor that most PC gamers are going for. So when I'm looking at stuff like that now, like PC gamers are saying...
monitor, 48-inch monitor.
But you know what? And this is what I'm saying, because ever since, even from noticing it myself, when it gets bigger, you can see it's stretched. What I see it as, I personally, I don't know about everyone else, but I can't see once, even let's say if I have the biggest house, once I say, I'm getting over a certain size TV, I just say, there's no point me getting that TV. I might as well get a top tro. And that's something that I've wanted from before. Basically a projector. I might as well, because there you can have it as big as you want and it's clear. Look, a lot of people when they think of projectors, like, you got to have this. It's not like school. Like you've got some real. They cost a lot as well, and they're really quality. Like they've upgraded. Like they're not talked about enough. They are. So if once I get a clear wall and I want a big set, that's what I'm going for personally.
All right. So I was gonna say, based on what you were saying, Hypes, about the size of the TV. I was just doing some research, and actually bigger TVs, the TVs and the smaller TVs, they're actually going to be stretched equally and they have the same number of pixels. And they said sometimes and the bigger TVs are going to have bigger pixels. So, for example, the same amount of pixels you're going to have in a smaller TV will be the exact amount in a bigger TV.
Because it's the same 4K resolution.
But the pixels will be big enough. The pixels will be big enough to justify the size. So, for example,
but you see
won't look stretched.
You see with that, yeah. But that's one of those. What I would say is most people. That's definitely a selling point because there's certain things where. So even though I do research for info before I do things, there's certain things which I won't listen because of common sense or what I visually experience or see. Like if you have them next to each other, even if you go to any of those shops, like now they're getting better with technology, but that's always been a thing you've been able to tell. And I don't mean literally like, I'm not saying 25-inch versus 80. I'm talking about you've got the optimal, you've got the right balance. Let's just use 55 since that's the common. That is a good size. And then you compare it with a 90-inch or 77. As it gets bigger, you see it. It's not the same. It's not compact. It's not as nice. Right. It's like this is going to be. Some people will get this comparison, but it's like, have you ever had a bottle of Lucasade and then had the can one? The can one is so much nicer because it's contained and it's compact. Literally comparing drinks with TVs.
But let me tell you something quickly. When I was doing some research into 4K TV when they just started to come out when I was back in uni, the smaller the screen is, if it's at the same resolution, the smaller image is going to be sharper. Reason being, as JJ said earlier, you have the same amount of pixels. However, because it's condensed, because it's smaller, it just makes everything look a lot sharper because it has more information on a smaller screen. So technically, the smaller the screen is, so for example, if you have a 4K phone, like Sony have a 4K phone, right? And if you compare it to a 4K TV, a 55-inch and then a 65-inch or 90-inch 4K TV, the phone is actually going to be sharper. So it will, the details would look better, but obviously nobody's going to want to watch movies on a 6-inch screen.
Oh yeah, it has to be. That's what I'm saying. It has to be a decent size,
bro. At the end of the day,
it's just the balance, as you said.
Some people like to do the grand thing, the big large. TV. Me personally, that's never appealed to me. Maybe if I had a mansion with some mad square foot front room, but I'm good with 55. Maybe I'd push. Maybe I'd push for 65.
Yeah, nothing.
I think it depends on your space and your house.
Yeah, it depends on that as well. But
because I've walked into some people's living rooms and I've seen 50 inches and I'm like, that looks small.
Yeah,
and I think it's just because of the size of their living room.
That's why I said it just depends on the size of your room. So if you got that space, then
you use it. But for me, 65 in the space, I know
for where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I said. You see, once I go past that 65, I'm getting a projector.
Just do whatever after that, to be honest.
Yeah. And I'll just touch on a point, yes. I had my partner here the other day. Like, she was watching Netflix, for example, like, obviously, regarding gaming. And just to show the difference, she was watching a TV downstairs. Like, she doesn't even pay attention to things like this. So she's just watching a normal show. Watching it on the normal LG TV. I think we bought it like 3 or 4 years ago. Still 4K, still look good. Yeah, still 4K. And then she came and watched it on my TV, and straight away, instantly, she was just raw, like. And the thing is, she's not even someone that wouldn't see a difference. But she was like, whoa.
Yeah, but
like,
remember,
the picture looks so much better.
All those features, you had the HDR turned on, and
that's what it is, though.
The filmmaker mode, and
you're gonna listen, people, especially people that are not like we're tuned into this sort of stuff. No much time people come around to my house and they're like, wow, this TV is mad. Like, this is normal. Even the old one I had, the 4K Samsung, which was nothing compared to the one I got in the front room now. People would come around and be like, this is nuts. And I'd be like, it's normal. It's 4K.
It's 4K,
my eyes are used to it.
They've adjusted.
Exactly. A lot of people are still used to 1080p. So
that's what I'm running on now. And I'm gaming.
And that's the thing. If I look at 1080p right now, my eyes actually hurt. Like, if I look at...
Mr. 4K laptop, 4K TV upstairs, 4K TV downstairs, 4K TV in his car, 1080 still.
So my question... So I've got a quick question, to both the two that have the best TVs right now. we'll start with you, JJ. Do you feel satisfied with the money you paid for it?
Yeah, I was gonna ask that as well.
I was actually gonna say, hands down, I kind of wish. To be honest, I actually feel glorified. I feel like I got the money's worth, because at the end of the day, it's not like I paid that money and was disappointed. I paid that money and was like, wow.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I can't wait to play. I'm downloading games just to see how they look. Like I was never like that with the other 4K TV. I was just like, oh wow, this looks much better than 1080p.
One thing I'll say, you have to always remember the difference between just normal 4K and 4K OLED and QLED.
That's what I'm saying.
They're
So like
two different things.
So
that's what I'm saying.
You got to remember that one as well.
So I would say hands down, like, yeah, I'm actually excited. And even like when it comes to watching films, and just to touch on the last thing, what you said about the burning situation, about worried about if the screen's going to burn in, LG actually have a pixel refresher, and they have a screen shift. So what it does is it dims the static image, and it slightly shifts it along the screen. So you won't notice it, but it shifts it so it doesn't stay in the same place. So if it notices that there's a static image and it's quite bright, it will dim it, and then it will move it across the screen so that it doesn't stay in one place. You don't get that burning.
So just to conclude on that, so that means he would recommend it. And then Ray, my question for you would be, what features? I was gonna. It's slightly different. Your one, slightly different. So I was gonna say, because his one costs more, and you obviously done your research comparing them. What to pay the extra? We're going with 200 because that's the most common price difference that I've seen, or whatever most people. To pay the extra 200 or the extra money to the same price as the LG, what more would you say the Samsung needed that would justify you paying the extra?
Oh, bro, I couldn't tell you. I don't know. The one thing for me, the main thing that the LG has over the Samsung
is the 4 ports,
is more ports. Yeah. Other than that, like, I'm not bothered about anything else. Bro.
200 ports.
Have you noticed anything on the Samsung that like, even if it's minor, that you're thinking, raw, like, that doesn't look that good, even if it's minor?
Nothing. Especially comparing it to the TV I had before.
I think Ray's more like me, where it's just like, this looks good. Forget about it.
It looks proper good, like, and like I said, comparing it to the standard 4K TV I had before. Also, I've had a QLED in my bedroom upstairs for a little while now, for over a year now. It even looks better than that, believe it or not, because it's like, I think it's like 2 years, and plus I think the one upstairs is an entry level QLED. It's a Q60. Q60R, and this one's a Q80T, so it's like 2 levels above, and I can see the difference. So, and like
have you ever seen the other TVs as well, like in person?
Which other TVs?
Like the Q90, the Sony X90.
Yeah, when I've seen them all, I've seen them in Curry's. Yeah.
Okay.
And I got literally Curry's right around the corner from my house. Yeah.
And even when seeing them, like, that didn't sway your decision or nothing.
No, not definitely not spend extra 200, 300 pounds.
You know what people forget as well? Currys and that they put a certain picture for the TVs.
Yeah. Of course they do. They definitely do. They have to calibrate it.
Nothing.
And they don't calibrate. That's the thing. They don't calibrate it.
They don't, or they do.
They don't.
What they need to start doing so people can know.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
Calibration is another thing, because there's lots of times. Even JJ sent me a few things about calibration. For me, even that comes down to preference, because there's lots of times I've gone online on best TV settings, best calibration.
And it don't look good to me.
And I'm doing everything they've told me to do. And I think this doesn't even look good, bro.
Exactly.
Because
when I did the calibration on JJ's TV, the CX, the other day, you remember when we did it on your TV, we started to do the process, and it got darker. And I'm like, I don't want my game darker. Personally,
it's preference. That's what I'm saying.
And it made the camera more yellow.
What I've noticed is, with a lot of these things, when they say what's better about a TV or what's not, or even the people that are doing reviews, it comes down to preference.
It comes down to what they like.
Someone might not like the colors, like what you were saying, like the colors are less saturated or less brighter or whatever on the CX. someone might like them brighter. It's
I would like them
preference
brighter.
and the fact that some of them are getting paid.
Well, that might be
But
true as well.
That's true. Most of them are sponsored as well.
That too. But yeah, so for me, it all comes down to preference at the end of the day. And when I like I said, I look at reviews. I literally look at direct comparisons. And when I can't remember what website it was. I think it was Best Ratings. They literally compared the Samsung and the LG, and they done like different sections. I think they done the HDR, they done the interface, and one or two other things. I think the first section was a draw. Second section went to Samsung, which I think was the interface, and then the third section went to LG.
It was basically a tie.
Basically a tie.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, and they'll say like these are little minor things that's better in one, minor things that are better on the other, and I'm just like, all right, cool. I'm all right with what I've got because I'm not going to spend the extra 200, 300.
You know what?
For true black, so I'm good.
If the TV had at least two ports at 4K 120, that's the sweet spot. I don't need 4 personally.
I would. You see, for that,
that's what I'm saying. That's the one thing.
That's all I needed. You know.
That's it. Because it's only going to be.
You're not buying an adapter.
And because of Samsung, because they don't have the two, now I have to spend more money.
I'm not bothered though, but I understand because you've got both. So I understand.
And I'm going to get both as well.
I've just got a PS5. I'm never getting an Xbox.
No, you can't say that, Ray. Don't say that. Don't say that. Me and Hypes want to play Halo with you.
Unless you don't want to buy me one. I'm not getting an Xbox, is it?
You better ask JJ with that.
One other thing is I never keep my TVs for more than 2 years. So
yeah, fair enough. So by the time 2 years rolls around, you'll get
so by the time I'll refresh. I'll sell that one, whatever I get for it, offset that off. Use my employee discount and get my
I'm not gonna lie, I just mentioned as well, every console I've bought, I've had a new TV to go with it. I don't know how that happened. But when I had the 360, it's like 360
from 360 all the way up to now.
So, because I noticed when I got the 360, Xbox One, then the Xbox One X, and then the PS5, my TVs have changed with the consoles. That's the only time I've upgraded them. So I feel like I feel like that's what allows you.
I'll say him a high pitch. Listen,
I know, right?
Oh no!
My birthday's in 2 weeks, guys.
Whoa, serious? Mine is like 4 weeks, yo.
I need a monitor. I need a laptop. Hook me up.
We just send them the links on Amazon. Right? Don't worry.
My bank account ain't laughing right now.
But yeah, all right.
But yeah, I think that's a good discussion because we've all got different views on it.
Yeah, that would be
good to have the kid LJ here, but he'll be here next time, man.
He does have a 4K monitor, as I said before. So he would have been a good, because I think 4K monitors, they're a bit more pricey than the average 4K TV, but the quality, for example, 4K monitors, I've just been at 144 hertz as standard for the last 5, 6, 7 years. As just standard.
In the 240 now.
Yeah, exactly. As standard. So some people might be better off going for a slightly smaller 4K monitor for the higher refresh rate stuff.
I think that's only for PC gamers, not for console gamers.
It takes HDMI as well, so it will still work.
I mean, like the console game won't get the 240 or 144.
No, of course it will. Anyway. No, it will get the 120 though. So if it has 144 hertz, you will still get the 120.
Yeah. See, that's another thing if we're going to touch on that, because I know we're dragging it out a bit now, but JJ was also talking about.
Oh, we're still.
We're still recording.
Always playing in fidelity.
No, I don't think we can touch that, Ray. I think that's another one. It's already 44 minutes.
You know what?
I'm just gonna say I'm a performance mode guy. Playing in that 4K 60 is beautiful, bro.
It's definitely. I don't want 30 frames anymore.
I find it very hard to play in 30 now.
Yeah. Why would you buy a PS5?
I might need a true black
to
screen
play
for Hellblade
in the same quality as PS4.
Yeah. I find it very hard to play in 30 now. Now that I've constantly played in 60, when I go back down to 30, I'm like, this is not easy to play no more. Like,
it's sluggish. I can see the blur. I can see the blur moving around. I can physically see it. So,
this ain't for the recording, just a separate quick note, because obviously one of you's gonna edit it. Have any of you compared the Samsung Q95 and Q90? Well, I've been comparing Q90, but the Q95.
The only difference between those is one comes with the connector box. That's literally the only difference.
You're
Oh,
mad.
that's not worth the extra £200.
What it comes with?
Yeah,
It comes with a box that sorts out all your HDMI wires. So you
Really?
just
Is that it?
plug that into the TV,
They're
and you plug
cheeky.
all your cables
For
into the
$2
box.
bills.
That's literally the only
Let's buy
difference.
some
I
cable
don't know
ties
who
here
the
on
owner
Amazon.
of Samsung is, but he needs a slap.
He's in prison. I
And you
think,
can
so.
buy that box
Yeah.
separately, but it's about
You say
£200.
he's in prison though.
Yeah, the Samsung CEO is in prison for fraud, I think.
Nah.
Is it?
Yeah, the previous one. I don't know if they must have chosen a new one by now, but I remember that last year one
What?
of them went to prison.
Oh, what did he do?
Fraud, some fraud or some tax dodging or something like that. Thank you guys for joining us. This was Cheqpoint. This was Game Room, and the topic was the features we like about our gaming TVs and how much we would spend on them and what we think about them in general. Thank you for checking this out.
And
This is the King Ball signing out. Peace.
JJ signing out.
2 hands, I'm out.
High pitch still working on my slogan.
Done.